When she says, "I need space," what she's really saying might not be what you think. And the part that hurts, deep down, you already know. You're sitting there reading that message. Your chest tightens, your mind starts racing. Yesterday everything seemed normal. Maybe she was a little distant, but nothing dramatic. Then suddenly it's, "I just need some space right now," no clear reason. No timeline, no reassurance, just distance. So you start replaying everything. Was it that joke, that argument? Were you too available? Not available enough, you tell yourself. She's stressed. She's overwhelmed, she just needs time. And maybe that's true, but most of the time, space isn't about her calendar. It's about her feelings. Let's break this down without comforting lies. When someone asks for space in a romantic connection, it usually means emotional attraction has shifted. It doesn't automatically mean she's evil, manipulative, or talking to someone else. But it does mean something inside her has changed. Attraction, especially in the early and middle stages, is emotional and neurological. It runs on dopamine, novelty, tension, and perceived value. When the dynamic becomes too predictable, too intense, or too one-sided, the nervous system reacts. If she has avoidant tendencies, closeness starts to feel like pressure. If you have anxious tendencies, you probably responded to her slight withdrawal by leaning in harder. More texts, more reassurance, more "are you okay?" That creates a classic anxious avoidant loop. The more you chase, the more she pulls away. The more she pulls away, the more you panic. Space, in that context, is not about self-care. It's emotional breathing room from intensity. Here's the part most people avoid admitting. Sometimes "I need space" really means, "I'm not as sure about you as I used to be," or worse, "I don't feel the same level of attraction anymore, but I don't want to say it directly." People rarely end things the moment their feelings dip. They stall. They soften the language. They create distance slowly so the separation feels less brutal. Space becomes a buffer zone between interest and exit. Now let's talk about power dynamics, because nobody likes this part. In most early relationships, the person who is more emotionally invested has less power. Not because love is bad, but because investment creates vulnerability. If you're the one constantly thinking about the future, initiating conversations, planning dates, and seeking reassurance, you've handed over emotional leverage. When she senses that you're more afraid of losing her than she is of losing you, the dynamic shifts. Attraction often drops when certainty replaces challenge. That doesn't mean you should play games. It means overinvestment without reciprocity kills tension. Men and women process this differently, but not in the way social media tells you. Many men are taught to double down when there's distance. Fix it, solve it, communicate more, show effort. But emotional attraction doesn't always respond to logic or effort. Sometimes effort feels like pressure. Many women, especially those with avoidant traits, experience emotional closeness as vulnerability. When it gets too real, too fast, they feel exposed. Instead of saying, "I'm scared of intimacy," they say, "I need space." It sounds healthier. It feels less dramatic. But underneath, it's often fear or fading desire. Now let's challenge you. If someone asks for space and your immediate reaction is panic, you were already too attached. Not in love. Attached, there's a difference. Love is stable. Attachment is anxious. It's driven by validation loops. When she texts, you feel high. When she delays, you crash. That's not romance, that's dependency. You tell yourself you just care deeply, but if your mood depends on her responses, you've outsourced your emotional regulation. And that's exhausting for the other person. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Sometimes she asks for space because she doesn't respect the current version of you. Not your personality, your posture in the relationship. If you tolerate mixed signals, inconsistent effort, and emotional crumbs without boundaries, you communicate one thing: you're afraid to lose her. Fear is not attractive energy. It feels heavy. And before you blame only her, look at the pattern. Did you ignore early red flags? Did you rush intimacy because it felt intense? Did you build a fantasy around potential instead of reality? When we ignore misalignment in the beginning, space becomes the bill we pay later. Now let's shift perspective. Space is information. It's clarity disguised as confusion. When someone pulls back, they're revealing their current capacity. Instead of obsessing over how to win them back, ask a better question. If someone needs distance from me, why am I trying to get closer? If she truly needs space for healthy reasons, she take it and return with clarity. If she uses space as a slow fade, her actions will show it. Either way, chasing won't improve the outcome. It only erodes your self-respect. This is where most people sabotage themselves. They agree to space, but secretly wait. They stalk stories, they analyze last-seen times. They rehearse conversations in their head. That's not giving space, that's silent desperation. Real strength is this: you respect the distance and emotionally detach from the outcome. Not to manipulate, not to make her miss you, but because your value doesn't shrink when someone feels uncertain. If she comes back, it should be to a version of you that is steady, not resentful. If she doesn't, you lost someone who was already halfway out the door, and let's address something clearly. I need space is not always a test. Stop treating it like one. It's not a puzzle to solve, it's a boundary. You either respect it or you prove why she felt suffocated. The irony is this: the moment you stop trying to control whether she stays, you regain control over yourself. You sleep better, you think clearer. You stop performing and start observing, and observation reveals truth faster than obsession ever will. Attraction thrives in freedom, not pressure. Connection deepens when both people choose it willingly, not out of guilt or fear. So, if she says she needs space, don't argue. Don't negotiate. Don't beg for reassurance disguised as communication. Step back. Watch actions, not words. And ask yourself whether you were loving her or trying to secure her. Because sometimes the space she asks for is the space you needed to see the imbalance clearly. And here's the line that might stay with you. If someone needs distance to feel okay without you, your real problem was never the space. It was how much of yourself you were willing to shrink just to keep them close.